All right, Coach. Hey, thanks for being on. Texas High School Baseball Coach Association really appreciates you coming on, and I've followed you over Twitter, and I've seen a lot of the great posts that you put on. That's kind of the reason why I wanted to have you on today. So I'm going to run through pretty quick the podcast questions. I've taken some of them out, but my normal questions that I do for all the other podcasts, and then we'll get into what you wanted to talk about, which we haven't talked about at all, which is going to be really good about reviving a high school program. So. We'll jump right into it. What is your baseball background? Where did you play high school, through college, and what schools have you coached at?
I grew up in Arlington, Texas. Went to Sam Houston High School, played there. I attended North Lake College, played baseball there, and then I finished up at Texas Wesleyan.
Okay. All right.
I've coached at a lot of different schools. I started my career in private schools. My first job was freshman coach at Dallas Jesuit.
Okay.
Then my first head baseball coaching job was at Cistercian Prep School in Irving. They're in the SPC. From there, I went to Fort Worth Nolan Catholic and spent 5 years there. And then I jumped into public schools. I've been at Arlington Bowie, DeSoto, Mansfield Summit, Flower Mound Marcus, Sherman, North Crowley, and South Grand Prairie.
Okay, and you're I think the first guy we've had on that's been a private school coach too. So, did you did you see any big differences between the two?
So private school, my kids came from all over. So we didn't really have there wasn't a community feeling. We were a pretty tight group. It was a pretty tight groups I had at Nolan. We had a lot of talent, and we played as many public schools as we possibly could. I tried to get in all as good a tournaments as I could get in, the people that would let us in, because not everybody would let us in in their tournaments. But we played a real competitive schedule. The path to the state tournament is a lot shorter.
Right.
We made the private school state tournament all 5 years I was there.
Oh, wow.
Lost in the finals twice. So it's only back then they only played one game. There was no 2 out of 3. I fought for 2 out of 3, but no one was interested in doing that.
Right.
I think they do it now though. But that's the biggest difference. I mean, the competition was really good. Our district was really tough with Addison Trinity Christian and Dallas Bishop Lynch. There were always D1 arms. Trinity Christian had a kid that played in the big leagues. Patriot played in the big leagues. So we saw really good competition.
Right. Okay. I didn't mean to throw you off there. Throwing you a different question, but
good.
All right. Can you give us a short snapshot of why you got into coaching?
My original major was journalism. I wanted to be a sports reporter, and like my second year in school, I was hurt, so I didn't play in the summer, and that's when the UIL stopped allowing the high school coaches to coach in the summertime. And my high school coach asked me if I wanted to help out one of the dads. I said, "Yeah, sure. Why not? I'm not playing this summer. I'll help." And about 3 or 4 games of that summer season, he got rid of the dad and made me the head coach. And I took him the rest of the summer. We had a lot of success. And the following summer, I did it. And we only lost like 1 game the following summer. So at the end of that summer, he's like, Art, you might be a pretty good coach. You might want to think about doing that. So, if Tommy Cantrell tells me to be a coach, then I'm going to be a coach.
And that's a different route from a lot of guys we've talked about. All right. So real quick on practices, man, and it's been so different. I don't know what you guys have for fall. I just got kids. I got 4 kids on Monday, and that's it. So, what's your typical off season like for you guys? So what, like a typical week for you?
Yeah. So a typical week right now for us, we've gone in person we went in person on September 21st. So since then we've been doing baseball during our athletic period every day. And then we do strength and conditioning on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays after school.
So it's changed because of the new rule.
Yeah. And we have more kids participating in strength and conditioning because of the new rule this year.
Right. Okay. So, what are your plans this year for off season? Have you changed anything?
Well, we had a coaching change. I lost my varsity assistant. He got the head baseball job at DeSoto, and he was our hitting guy. So we've changed responsibilities. I've taken over the hitting. So now I'm in the cages full time.
Right.
We divide our kids into two groups. One group's in the cages, one group's on the field. And I'm really fortunate that I have none of my assistants coach football, and they're all in the athletic period.
Right.
So I'm able to be with the hitters. My pitching guy can be in the bullpen. My outfield guys with the outfield, and my infield guys with the infield. So we get a lot of work done.
All right. So, what are some of the things you guys do for culture building? In other words, what are you really intentional about culture wise?
I've been doing Matt Deggs' pack, the pack mentality, pack hitting system.
Right.
And we really got into that the last couple of years. This year, we haven't spent a lot of time on it. It's just kind of who we are now. It's kind of who we've become. Last year, I decided that I needed to. I didn't think I'd been leading from the front since I've been at South Grand Prairie. Kind of been leading from behind. So I decided to change things up, and I didn't let the kids do anything that I wouldn't do. So last fall, I got in the weight room with them, and I would lift with them. I'd run with them, and just I kind of decided that instead of preaching culture and talking about it, I needed to be more about it, and it's really helped. They look at me now that I'm busting my tail right alongside with them. I'm not just directing traffic. I'm doing it with them,
Right.
and that's really helped.
All right. How do you integrate competition into practices? I know that's a big thing for most of the coaches right now.
Yeah, we try to make everything we do competitive. So, we track exit velocity. That we don't really have a lot of hitting technology, so it's just mainly pocket radar, hit it off the tee, which I try to explain to them. It's really good to hit the ball hard off the tee, but that's not real hitting. So we just kind of use that. But we'll post it, we rank them, we post it, and we track their progression on that. We've got Rapsodo for pitching, and the pitchers, they can, so it's a big competition on their spin rate, their spin efficiency, who's got more vertical break, who's got more horizontal break, and they've all got access to their own account, and then we'll print the top 10 and post it in the locker room.
And how were you able to purchase that? Was that a booster club or was that
Booster Club? Yeah.
Right. We've been wanting to get one for a while.
Man, I'm starting to become a pitching nerd. I mean, I'm getting into the science. I'm trying to stay current. I try to stay current, and it's really helped me see things from a whole different perspective.
Right. Now, was it tough to set up? Because I know one of the guys down here just had a tough time figuring it out.
Yeah. So my assistant coach, he's my JV2 coach, and I've kind of turned the pitchers over to him during practice. He took a Rapsodo certification course this summer. All right. And he's kind of taught me. I mean, I kind of jumped into it. One of my former assistants as a head coach, I went and spent the day with him last year, and he kind of walked me through, and he really helped me a lot because he's all about technology. Right. And he really helped me through it. And then my assistant coach did the certification course this summer, and that's really helped. Okay. So he's kind of teaching me now.
All right. But I'm trying to get my son on that. But I don't know if we have the money right now. So, all right. What about personal development for your players? In other words, stuff that you might do off the field.
We have a big community service project we do in the spring. Usually on a Saturday. If we have a game, we'll do it afterwards. If not, we'll just get up and we start. It's in conjunction with the city, and we go and clean up people's backyards, and we spend the whole day doing it. And the first year I introduced it to them, they were kind of like, "Oh, coach, what are we doing?" Yeah. But like by the end of that day, they felt really fulfilled. And now it's like, "Hey, coach, are we going to do that community service project again? And we really like doing that." and then we go and read to the elementary schools when we have the opportunities to the seniors that have first block off, and help with their reading program. Um, those are the two main things we do.
Okay, and that first one was a good one, really good one. How about your coaches? How about personal development for them? Are you trying to? You just lost your assistant coach. Are you preparing them to be head coaches?
Yes, he's the eighth assistant coach of mine that's gone on to be a head coach,
Oh man.
and that's one of the things when I bring a guy in, that's what I want to know. I mean, do you want to be a head coach? I mean, because I want guys that are go getters and want to learn and want to go the extra mile. Um, so I'm trying to prepare them to be a head coach. Whenever there's a parent meeting, one or two of them will sit on it with me, so they can get that experience. Um, they'll come to booster club meetings with me just to see, what everybody wants to be a head coach until it's time to do what head coaches have to do. That's what I always tell them.
Yeah.
And the guys that have gone on to be head coaches, they get that.
Right. Okay. What kind of rules or standards do you have for your program?
Um, it's more standards. That's one of the first things I told them when I got the job, is that we're not going to have rules, we're going to have standards, and the standards are, um, you know, on time is late, 15 minutes is early, 15 minutes is on time. Um, we're passing our classes, we're not skating by. If we are skating by, you have to go to tutoring. No one's an ISS. I think in the last 3 years, we may have had one kid in ISS, which, from what teachers have told me, was a problem with the baseball kids before I got there.
Right.
Um, apparently it's not cool to wear your ID in school, at least around your neck, even though we have lanyards. So if we catch them without their ID on, we stop and make them do 25 push-ups in the hallway.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, so we try to tell them that we're an elite unit, and that just doesn't. We just can't flip the switch when we get on the field. We've got to be elite in everything we do, in the classroom, in the community, our citizenship in school. We've got to be the leaders.
Right. And we really preach the same thing, and what we found out is teachers really like having our kids in class, and hopefully, I think once you start to see that, then you know that you're going the right direction.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Let's see. And what have you found to be more efficient over time?
Um, I mean, I haven't coached football in, oh man, I think it's been 8 or 9 years, but I guess toward the end of my time coaching football is when the segment clock became a big deal. So we try to break our practices up into 5-minute segments,
Right.
and dedicate. So defensively, we'll do position specific drills for 2 or 3 segments, depending on what we want to do that day, and then we'll do team defense. Um, do a Work on a team defensive drill every day. One day it's outfield relays, first and third defense, run downs, bunt coverages, fly ball communication. We'll get a machine out and launch balls up in the air 5, 6, 7 seconds, um, uh, and do that. So we'll try to pick one thing every day, and then do something live. Something's got to be live. Either we'll put the machine up there, or coach will pitch it, um, to just get balls off the bat live. I'm not a big fungo swinger anymore. I don't swing a fungo bat. We don't swing fungo very much. We've got a machine for ground balls, so we can maximize our reps, and then we try to do, from a defensive standpoint, we try to make it as live as possible. Ball off the bat, runners running the bases. One coach is coaching base runners, one coach is coaching defense. So we try to work on both things every day, for sure.
Right. And I've had quite a few guys saying that now, using the segment clock. Now, when you get to a point to where, okay, they're not doing it right, do you extend it or do you just cut it? I've heard it both ways.
It depends on, I guess, on where we're at in the season, um, and what we're working on. We'll cut. We probably cut the individual periods down. When that's kind of a drop dead time. But if it's
Okay.
team stuff, we'll extend it. until
Okay.
we feel until we've either learned it or we feel better about it. Because we don't I don't want to end a segment negative,
Right.
either I'm negative or they're negative. We want, especially a defensive segment, we want to end those positive.
Right. Right. Exactly. Let's see. All right. So we're kind of at where we needed to be. And let me get to the presentation here. And hopefully you're seeing that on there. So, and you kind of broke it down when you sent this to me. You broke it down into when you were hired is really kind of a big deal for reviving a high school program. I thought that was really neat. So, kind of unless you want to talk about something right before that or no.
No, no, that's fine. That's fine.
All right. So if you're a summer hire, this is kind of the things that you pointed out. So try to get an understanding of why there was a coaching change. So, why is that important?
Well, I mean, so I've taken over jobs where 95% of the people were absolutely happy there was a coaching change. I've taken over places where it was a 50-50 split. Half the people liked the coach, half the people didn't like the coach. Usually the people that were playing loved him, and the people that weren't playing, they couldn't stand him. Um, and then I've been places where nobody really wanted the coaching change. The guy, the coach left, and instead of hiring the assistant, they went outside and
Yeah.
hired me. So I try to get kind of get a lay of the land, see what I'm getting myself into.
Right.
Uh,
Okay. And I had a buddy that went through that where he went to a place where they really wanted the coach that was there before, and it was tough for him. And he's a great coach, and won and everything else, but just never had the support that he wanted to have, and he was kind of miserable in a great spot. So, all right. So the next one is meet and retain players, returning players.
yeah, I like to try to meet the kids as soon as possible. Try to find out what they like. What are some of the things they like to do in the past coach, and what are some things they'd like to do different. Make sure everybody's coming back. No one's getting recruited away during summer ball, um, because that will happen. Um, just I just want to get my face in front of them and let them see my energy and my passion, and that I'm ready to be one of them.
Yeah.
Um,
And I like the point that you put on there, the things that they liked in the past, the traditions that they liked in the past. I thought that was interesting. It was a little bit different. A lot of guys just want to go in and cut ties with everything else.
well, I mean, and a lot of that depends on, you know, what are you taking over? I mean, if you're taking over I've taken over a program where they won 20 games a year before, but there was a head football coach in hire, and he cleaned house,
Right.
including the head baseball coach. So, I mean, I'm not taking over 2-20. I'm taking over 20-6. So there's some, there's some wins. So what are some of the good traditions, um, what are some things you guys want to keep, and what are some things that you guys like to do differently? So I tell the kids all the time, this is your team, this is your season. I'll have another season next year. I will, but this
Right.
is your season. So you know, we it's not a dictatorship. It's a democracy within, but let's not get crazy.
Yeah. All right. And host two baseball camps, one for incoming first through sixth graders, and then one for seventh through ninth graders.
Yeah, the seventh through ninth graders, that's to see, try to let's get a real good look at those kids, and that's more of like a college recruiting camp. I want to make sure those seventh and eighth graders don't move away. Um, and that's if there's a parent I can kind of you know bond with pretty quickly, someone that's kind of got the lay of the land, and find out who the really good young players, who do I need to make sure doesn't move away or transfer to a private school, who, because it's more than about that the first season. I'd like to build something that's going to last for a while.
Right. Okay. Next one you
And
got
you
on
need
here
talent.
is, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you do need talent. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I'm not I'm
We all
not a
know that.
magician. You need some talent.
All right. Next one you got on here is reach out and meet with local youth baseball organizations.
Yeah, that's something I try to do. Not every place I've been, I've gotten a good response. But I always offer free coaches clinics. Come watch practice anytime you want. Um, and you can shadow me. You don't have to sit in the stands and watch. Shadow me and ask questions, because I want I really want the younger kids getting taught the same drills that we're doing. Kind of have the same mentality that they're going to have when they get to high school.
Right.
Um,
Okay. Next one. Meet parents, gather intel on who the best players are in the junior high, and who isn't playing that should be at the high school.
yeah, so when I got the head baseball job at DeSoto, there was a kid in the band that didn't play the year before I got there. He played as a freshman, but he didn't play the year before. And everyone kept telling me about this kid. Coach, you got to get this kid. He'll be our best pitcher. He's in the band. I'm like, how good could he be? He's in the band. He's not playing. Come on. And sure enough, we get this kid, and he's pretty good in our scrimmages. And first tournament, we play a team that was in their district the year before in the old realignment, and I throw the band kid against them, and he throw like a one-hit shutout, and we beat him, and they just killed DeSoto the 2 years before that, and their coaches were like, "Coach, where did that kid from? Where did that kid come from?" I'm like, "Oh, he's in the band." And they're like, "Man, don't lie, no, you're lying." I'm like, "He was in the band, he didn't play." And he won a lot of games for us those 2 years I was there. He was really good. I think he wound up playing a year at Cisco Junior College, and now he's a musician. So,
All right, the band kid. All right,
yep.
inspect equipment and make a wish list, and think player development when you do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, having lots of baseballs are nice, but what kind of machines do we have? Um, what is there to help the hitters develop? Do I need to get a new set of J bands? Are there any J bands for arm care? My assistant coach took over, like he took over in DeSoto this year, and he's like, "Coach, I got 30 baseballs. We got lots of T-shirts, but we got 30 baseballs." I'm like, "Well, you get that booster club rolling, my man, because you need more than 30 baseballs." Um,
You want to
so
be a head coach.
that's right. That's right. He went from a turf field. We have turf, so no field work, and he had to go over there and jump into their field, and they got natural grass. So he's been working. He's been working real hard.
All right, next one you got is meet with Booster Club and give them your wish list.
Yeah, so after I go through the equipment, I get what I want, what we need, what I want, and then bring it to them. And if the equipment's in real bad shape, they don't believe me. Well, come on, let's go look. I'll show you. I'll show you. This is what we want. This, it's not just what I want, but it's why.
Yeah.
Because I want them to, they've got to be my partner. Without them, my life would be really tough without my booster club. And my booster club at South Grand Prairie, they've been phenomenal. They've been phenomenal.
Now, do they help with your website? I saw that. I was looking at it. It's pretty nice.
My varsity assistant coach, he runs the website.
Okay.
He's a graphic. He does all the graphic stuff. I forgot what classes he teach. Graphic design. He's a big graphic design guy, so he does all that. He runs our social media. I just send him stuff and he posts it.
Okay. All right. If there's no booster club, use coaching contacts at New School to find out what fundraisers that you get.
Yeah, so and even if it's a new booster club, the old parents left and they didn't really help the new booster club folks out. I'll go to the basketball coach, softball coach, and hey, what are the really good fundraisers that y'all do? What do y'all have success here? Because what might work at one school, what's worked for me at one school may not work at another school.
Right.
Because every place is different.
Okay. I was wondering on that one. That makes sense. Okay. Hire top assistant if possible.
That's not always possible.
Yeah.
I've been lucky. At South Grand Prairie, they let me bring my assistant over from North Crowley, and that really helped.
That's what I was going to ask you.
I know a lot of times, yeah, a lot of times, you're at the mercy of the football coach, and it is what it is, and but so even if you're not lucky like I was, and you're able to bring in a top assistant, um, I try to meet with those baseball coaches, the guys that are going to coach baseball. I try to meet with them a couple times. I'll take them out to lunch, or I'll take them out to dinner, and just you know try to figure out what they know, and what they can do. Can they even swing a fungo? Because I've had guys that couldn't swing a fungo in the past. They're just football's just a second sport, and they would rather be in track, but they've got enough track coaches that the short guy in the football office, so they get baseball. And you have to coach those guys up, because the sub varsity is all about development, and I really could care less what our sub varsity records are. I'd love for them to win, but I tell them your job is to develop guys for the varsity level.
Right. Have you had to come in? Have you had to come in and clean house or anything like that, or even
yeah, I've gone to football coaches and tell them, hey, look, you got to get me somebody else. This guy he's throwing. Yeah, I got parents coming to me telling me he's throwing kids 95, 100 pitches in a JV game or a freshman game, and I'm telling him you got to throw at least 2 guys in district. You probably should throw 3. We got to develop 3 pitchers each, Tuesday, Friday, or Monday, Friday, whenever we play. So that, and I've had some, no coach, you're just gonna have to deal with him, and well, okay, I'll deal with him, and I'm gonna, I've had to document stuff. I've made the lineup, and it's a different lineup. He's playing who he wants, and but you got to be real careful depending on who your head football coach is. Is that one of his dudes, or it's kind of a real slippery slope, and you could get yourself in a little bit of trouble if you're not careful.
Yeah. All right. The next one you pretty much already talked about. So meet your assistant coaches and go over your philosophy, your in-season expectations. The next one is identify multi-sport athletes and develop a plan to share them with other coaches.
Yeah, I probably should have highlighted, put it in bold, underline it, put in italics, be prepared to be flexible and adaptable.
Yeah.
Because once again, like our guy at South Grand Prairie, he's awesome. If we've got a kid that plays both, if he's a varsity baseball player at semester, his schedule changed and he comes to baseball. Because he knows we're going to lift him, 3 days a week. So he's not worried. Plus he's glad he's competing. But I've been at places where we had different athletic periods and we didn't get them until after school. Football was 3rd block, baseball 4th block, and I wouldn't get them until after school. So, during that athletic period with the baseball guys, we just use that as extra time, extra ground balls, extra BP. Pitchers threw bullpens during that time period, and then when those guys came out after school, that's when our 2 hours started. To stay within the 8-hour rule.
Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Watch summer league team, if they have one, and start evaluating players and their physical skills, and from a standpoint, and their mental skills.
Yeah, I mean, I think going into the school year, if it's my first year, I want to know what I'm working with. What's my philosophy going to be this year? Or are we going to be oh man, we can't swing the bat, we're going to be small ball, so we got to start working on our manufacturing runs offense. We got to work more on those kind of things in the fall. Or do I have a lineup full of guys where all I've got to do is be a cheerleader and coach third base and just let them swing it? Because I want to make a plan, and I've got to adjust to the talent. Can these guys run the bases? Are they fast? Do they know what they're doing? What kind of offense are we going to be? So I try to see him. I would try to see him as much as I could that summer. And if there wasn't a team, to start finding out, okay, who do you play for? All right, so you play for you play for D-bat, you go play the Musk. So I'll just try to go watch a couple kids every weekend, and just to see what we got, see what their physical skills are, and then see how they are mentally. Who's the bad body language guy? Who do I need to work on mentally?
Right.
That type of thing.
And you covered that the next one. So if there was no summer team, then find out which guys are on travel ball. Now you coached travel ball this summer or during the
Yeah,
break?
yeah. I coached it last summer.
Was that the first time, or had you done it before?
No, I've coached it several. I've coached it for several summers.
Okay, all right.
It was
We
this
won't get
summer.
into that then.
This summer was weird. It was really weird.
Yeah, I
It was
bet.
really weird.
All right, next one. Improve the facility and just put pride on there.
Yeah, I mean, I want the kids to whatever I could do during the summer to improve the facility before the kids come back. I want them to be like, wow, this guy really cares. I mean, he cares about the field. If even if it's let's go buy some new windscreen or something, paint the dugouts, just anything to improve the facility before they um, come back.
Right.
If the field's out of, sometimes when you take over, the field's out of shape. So like my assistant in DeSoto, when the season ended in March, that was it. And then, coach retired in May. So the varsity assistant got a job in Austin. So no one took care of the field. And he finally gets hired in late July. So from March to July, nobody was on the field. And it was, the infield dirt was overgrown. It's nobody's fault. It's just a situation between COVID and a coaching change. So he got one of our South Grand Prairie dads who's got a landscape company and got him to come out there and help him, try to whip it into shape because he wanted that field. I told him, man, you got to get that field done and in good shape for those kids before those kids hit it. It'll really impress them. And he said, and they were, and he's like, man, coach, that was maybe the best advice you gave me coming into this job.
Oh, that's a good one. All right. Ask if school district will purchase a new set of uniforms. If not, then add to Booster Club wish list.
Yeah. I've always, whenever I've changed schools, I've always tried to get new uniforms, new coach, new look, change it up a little bit. But you also got to be careful because they may have their uniform may be a classic look. They may have had it for years, and so once again, you gotta coach. We love the pinstripes, and I'm not a big fan of pinstripes. And because we love the pinstripes, we got to keep the pinstripes. All right, we'll keep the pinstripes. So,
okay. All right. The next one is develop a checklist of things needed to prepare your team and to play this spring. Put them on a calendar and check them off as you go through the fall. If no fall ball athletic period, then have them ready to go at the last Friday in January.
Yeah. So we've kind of developed a list. I forgot who I got. I picked it up, a big chunk of it from somebody. I don't remember who I stole it from or who shared it with me. And my assistant coaches now, we've kind of added to it. I think we're up to like 67 different things, which I know it sounds like a lot, but we could probably put another 67 more on it. And we divided it up into different phases of the game. So my coach at coach's infield, he's got his list. And at the beginning of the week, all right, what are you going to work on this week? What are you going to cross off the list? So we've been crossing off things as we've gone on this fall. And once we've hit everything, then we're going to start over and start covering them again. So like for me in the cages, we've been working on hit and run. We worked on hit and run first. We've worked on slashing, slash play. I've got a couple drills that we use to try to get them used to doing that because that's just not something that they're asked to do a whole lot. So I've been taking care of each one of those things each week. Two strike approach. That's our next thing we're going to work on. So we'll do a lot of two strike approach stuff.
Okay. Is that the one that you sent me? The checklist that you sent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That's on there then. All right. So that was all summer. Now, if it's a fall hire, you're still saying most of the stuff can be done during the baseball athletic period. Be the culture you want. I think that's kind of what you talked about earlier, getting in the weight room and doing the same thing. Lead from the front. That's exactly what you're talking about and set the example. I don't know if you want to expand on that or.
I mean, kids today, they're not different. I don't think they're really different than what we were when we were kids. Um, I think they're probably parented differently. I know when my coach told us to do something, we did it. We were scared to death of him. My
Right.
players are not scared of me. They're not scared of me at all, um, because they've got so many other things to distract them. Adam Foster, who used to be the coach at Georgetown, I talked with him a lot last summer, and he's like, "Coach, you got to dangle carrots," and I'm like, I shouldn't have to do. He goes, well, you have to dangle carrots. He goes, I dangle carrots and to get what I want. He goes, I'm telling you, you've got to start dangling more carrots. Um, so that's kind of what I mean. I kind of took his ideas and some of his ideas, and we did that last year, and it really worked out. And the kids have just responded. So like with our fundraise, no one likes to fundraise. So we set a money amount. This is what we want to raise, and if you raise this, then you can get whatever you want. But we want a new set of jerseys. Okay, fine.
Right.
You can design them. And so we're in the middle of a fundraiser right now. We're almost to that goal. So if they meet that goal, um, we'll get a new red jersey. Last year they wanted a black jersey, and black is not one of our school colors. We are
Oh.
red and gold, and a lot of our older alumni hate it. But every sport at our school has a black set of uniforms except baseball. We're the last ones to do it, and they all wanted the jersey. I said, okay, if you meet this goal, we'll get the black jersey. And then one of them was like, what about a black hat? I'm like, ooh, I don't know about that. And so I thought about it for a couple of days. I'm like, okay, I'll make a deal. For the black jersey, you got to sell this amount of this. You got to make this amount of money. I said, but for this amount of money, and they're like, God, coach, that's a lot. I said, well, for that amount of money, we'll get a blackout set, just like Mississippi State. We'll go black hat, black jersey, black pants, and
Oh,
they far exceeded that. I mean, it's the most fun way. So we break out those black uniforms last year, and I don't. I mean, we didn't play very much in them. I think we've only played 5 games, but we didn't lose the game in them. I mean, they were a different group wearing those uniforms. Uh, I think I brought out a pirate flag one day, and I said, "You got to play like a bunch of pirates. You take what you want. You want the game, you go out there and take it. We got to be totally different with when we wear these black jerseys, these black uniforms." And they just bought into it, and it was great. It was great.
okay. All right. Next one you got on there: continue to improve facility, and then the other one, have a mandatory parent meeting to set expectations and give them your plan of action for the fall.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give them our schedule for the fall. What we're working on. Um, what I try to break it into say 16 weeks, so or no 18 weeks. So we try to break it into 4 groups of 4 like 4-week pods. Um, what we're trying to accomplish, so they know what we're working on. Um, and just what are the procedures, if you've got if someone's hurt, if a kid gets hurt, don't take him to the doctor, especially the freshman parents, because the freshman parents don't know unless they've had previous kids. Send them to the athletic trainer. That's their job. But every year, we always get a freshman that comes in, he hurts something, shoulder, leg, whatever, and he had to go to the trainer, and well, okay, you're out 4 weeks, sorry, and our trainer won't even see you. So you didn't follow the protocol. So especially the freshman parents, I usually have a separate meeting just for the freshman parents, and I let them ask all the questions they want, because it's freshman baseball, high school baseball, it's way different than what they're used to
Right.
on the travel ball set. And if they've never had a kid come through a program, they don't know anything.
All right. That's a good idea. A separate meeting. Put a fall team in a league or play your own league with only your players.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing this year. We're just it's basically an inter squad. And I think it was something I was going to do this year anyway, just to get more kids involved. It didn't cost any money. They come out, and the catcher's calling balls and strikes, and we're sitting in the press box filming it, keeping it on Game Changer, taking notes and just giving them game type situations to evaluate them. And we've been doing it with this fall because of our pitchers and summer ball lasting so long and going into fall, we didn't want to put any added stress on them. So we're doing 8 versus 8 with a machine. So they can see some velo. Um, I'm really trying to protect their arms. We've had more kids down with shoulder and elbows this fall than we've ever had.
Yeah,
And there was no break between summer and fall ball, and they just kept going. Plus, what had they been doing those 12, 13 weeks we were out before summer ball? And I know they don't take care of themselves like they do with us. They're not under constant supervision every day like they are with with us with our high school program.
right. All right, next one, be visible at school and create a buzz about the new guy. Create curiosity about who the new coach is. That way you can get out some better numbers.
Yeah, I try to, for me, I try to be visible at the first couple of faculty meetings and participate and do stuff so people get to know, oh, we got a new baseball coach, because not everybody knows there's a new baseball coach. There's a new football coach, everybody knows. But
Right.
not everybody knows when there's a new baseball hire, because usually that's during the summer and everybody's gone and, we got a new baseball coach. Okay. Um, and try to get to meet as many of the teachers as you can. At our school, it's really difficult because we're so big. I mean, there's still a bunch of teachers if they walk by me on the street, I wouldn't even know who they are, because we've got over 200 faculty members. So, um, and I want them to be able to communicate to me, hopefully more than just the bad things, but hopefully when there's good things, they'll communicate that too. I just want them to know that if they need some support, that I'm there to support them.
Right. The next one is kind of a big one to me. So recruit, train a good student manager to help get equipment out, put equipment away. Most importantly, be your scribe.
Yeah, because we try to chart a lot of everything we do, especially when we're doing a competitive anything that, like I said earlier, when we're doing live type stuff, like we did a base running scrimmage the other day, and we didn't count runs. It was going from first to third, you got a point. Scoring from second, you got a point. Taking the extra base on a throw in from the outfield, you got a point. Base running mistake was a negative point. Any kind of energy vampire, bad body language, negative point. So that way we don't have to do all the writing. My assistant coach, he's been one of my assistants since I've been at South, but now he's the top varsity assistant. His son's a freshman. He doesn't play baseball, which I know kills him at times, but I mean, his kid is awesome, and he's really bright. So he's our scribe, and he's into class with Dad. Dad's got him there, and he's our manager. And he's gonna be awesome. He's gonna be awesome.
All right. Next one, reach out to the faculty, introduce yourself, and begin a positive, open channel of communication.
Yeah. Hey, I'm the new baseball coach. Here's a list of kids that are in the baseball class this fall. If anyone's having any issues with them, let me know. They're not
Right.
doing their work, let me know. These are the expectations that they have. These are the standards that I have for them. Turn in all their assignments, ask for help. Failure is not an option. And I tell the teachers that if they're failing the first 9 weeks and they're failing the second 9 weeks, I mean, they're liable to get cut. I've cut a lot of kids because I mean, to me, you're interested, you're not committed. You're
Right.
interested in baseball, you're interested in all that stuff on the field, but the problem, and the freshmen are the biggest problem, because it's the first time, for at least in our school district, it's the first time that grades are actually linked to eligibility.
Yeah.
Unless mom and dad don't let them play when they're playing travel ball if they're failing classes, but they've got too much money invested not to let them play. But that's not the case with us. So our freshmen, whenever our first grade report comes out, they're if it's 4 pages, they're probably 3 pages of it.
Right. Yeah. Same with us. Next one kind of shows that you've thought of everything. Find a good PA announcer.
Oh yeah, because I've had some bad ones.
Yeah.
Guys that want to do public address instead of just, I mean, they want to do play by play instead of public address, and that's not a good look. Because play by play guys start getting opinionated, and you just can't have that. So yeah, you gotta have a good PA guy. Man, I need to find a good one this year. We lost a good one. I need to find a good one this year.
Yeah. All right. And next one, I think is really big. So make the spring schedule that'll build some confidence early.
Yeah. So when I took over at North Crowley, it had been a program that had struggled a lot. So the first thing I did was I wanted to find a tournament that I knew we could compete in and have some success, play 4 games and win 3 of them, and I mean not run rule in those 3 wins, but play some people that I think we could match up against, and then maybe there's one team in there that's going to really maybe beat us and not bring us back down to reality. So I tried to let's get off to a good start. Let's win the first game. Schedule a non-district game on Monday that a team that I know we're going to win, so we can be 1-0, and then have a good first weekend. And that second tournament, let's serve them up some humble pie. Let's
Yeah.
we're feeling good about ourselves, and maybe we don't want to listen as much. Hey, yeah, we're 4-1. We hadn't won. We hadn't won 4 games in a season in 2 or 3 years, and now we've won 4 games the first week. Then that second week, I try to schedule a tournament that's gonna, we're gonna get exposed. We're gonna get
Right.
exposed. And then that third tournament, I would try to get a little mix of both. Try to find a tournament where there's teams, yeah, and I would ask those coaches, hey, you know, I want to play. You've got so and so in your tournament. I want to play them. And he's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes, trust me. I want to play them." Um, so we have some success in that third tournament. We're also going to get tested and get pushed, and maybe get our brains beat in right before district. So we're ready to go. But I've also taken over places like when I took over at Flower Mound Marcus. There was success there, and so I made sure to every tournament was hard, and
Right.
we've got to step it up because when I was there, that our district was Flower Mound, Coppell, South Lake, us, Hebron, and Louisville.
Oof.
So yeah, I mean, and we played everybody 3 times, so we had to be battle tested before we went into district.
Right. The last one you got on there is established routines.
Yeah, like so our field is on campus at South, but it's a little bit of a hike. So they know when we leave study hall, they've got X amount of minutes to get down there, get dressed. They know as soon as we hit the field, it's stretch. Um, and then as soon as we're done stretching, we have to say it. They go get their armbands, and we're going to throw. They know that's how we're going to start out. And when they get a practice schedule, they always know it's going to be stretch, armbands, throw. No matter what else we do, we're always doing those 3 things every day. And we try to get them a practice schedule so they know what we're doing going in. That way, I don't get, Coach, what are we doing today? I don't get that question, 50 times throughout the day. And then when they see me in the hall, or if I've got them in class, they want to know what we're doing. They already know because we've sent them a text on remind with the practice schedule, so they know what we're doing.
Okay. I was going to ask you that. How are you communicating with them? Remind. That's a good one. Begin implementing the checklist for getting your team ready. So we talked about that already.
Right.
Begin individual player development. Collect and analyze data.
Yeah. So that's with the more tools that we've gotten, especially the Rapsodo, um, that's what we're doing. We're doing a lot of analyzing of their mechanics right now, their spin rate, spin efficiency, trying to get them to spin the ball better. Um, and then with the hitters, we're trying to build bat speed. I'm a big believer in the axe bat weighted bat system. So we're overload training with our bats. That's something that Dan Hefner at Dallas Baptist, who's right across the lake from me, he really sold me on that about 5 years ago. So before I found the axe bats, we made our own weighted bats
Yeah.
because that's what he had. Um, so we and I've always been I guess I've always been a data guy because at tryouts, even back when I was at Nolan, 1998. I mean, we've got the radar gun and we're getting arm strength and we're charting how many, how they field the ball, how they throw it. I used to make them hit the ball off the tee back then, just so I could get something,
Right.
um, because the kids and even the parents, they don't care about my resume. They don't care what I did 10 years ago. If I get into a meeting with a parent and a kid on why we cut them or why they're on JV, I've got to I come with data, and I've got everything. It's not just my expert opinion. That's not good enough for everybody. Um, so I've always done that. I've always kept tryout data. Probably the last 5 to 10 years, I've started filming tryouts to show, oh, hey, here's your son. These are all the balls we hit him, and look, he's missed every single one of them. All his throws are not accurate; they're off the bag. And this is how hard he throws it, and I'll black out other kids' names. Here's how hard your kid throws it, and here are the kids that we kept,
Right.
and here are the varsity kids, and here's how hard they throw them. This is their arm strength. So it just takes the guesswork out of it. Because I know they don't want to. They don't want to hear my opinion, even though I mean that's what my job is. But that just doesn't impress people. So
All right. Next one you got is arm care throwing program for the fall.
yeah. So right now all we're doing is stretching it out. We've been working on throwing it as far as we can with a good arc. We use the Alan Jaeger long toss protocol. Um, and once they get done playing on the weekends with their fall teams, and I think this is the last weekend any of our kids are going to pitch, we shut them down. Nothing on the mound for 2 months, and after 1 month, then we'll start doing pull downs. And I'll get the gun out and we'll see how we'll get their velo on their pull downs, and we'll rank them and show them these are our best arms, and this is what makes you this is why you're not getting recruited by a Division I school, because your pull down is 81 miles an hour. That's not what a D1 school is looking for.
Yeah.
uh, so
All right.
we try to chart everything.
Right. Establish a strength and conditioning program that focuses on movement over maxes.
Man, I'm lucky. I've got a guy that's from this area, and he interned at TCU under their
Oh,
baseball strength coach, and he's I've kind of outsourced strength and conditioning, and he's given our kids a really good deal. I know a lot of schools around here use performance course, and but performance course is kind of expensive, and that's not the kind of school we are. Our kids don't have real deep pockets. So, I got him to charge a certain rate for our kids, and he comes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and he works them out. And he is all about, he said, well, what do you want with your program? I said, well, I want strength, but I want speed. We want everybody to be faster and more athletic. And, so we don't lift like, especially like we used to. Um, I try to tell them we don't lift like a football team. We don't do bench press. We don't do power clean. We got kids want to do power cleans. Well, your form is terrible, and you try to lift too much weight, you're going to get hurt. And I said, but don't believe me. Believe the expert, the guy that's a real strength and conditioning coach and used to be a college pitching coach. Listen to him. So when he talks, they listen.
right.
Uh, and so we don't, you're not going to see guys on our social media squatting 400 pounds. You're not going to see that. Um, it's the stuff we do. The lifts are very baseball specific, and they'll start off, especially our freshmen, they start off just doing a bar,
Yeah.
or sometimes even less until they master the movement. And once James, that's his name, once he determines that they've mastered the movement, then they can start adding weight. Um, and I know our kids last year, it really helped. I mean, we hit balls last year that we hadn't hit ever, and everybody got faster. It definitely changed our offense. Um, we didn't have to rely on small ball, and we could steal bases. You know, we were able to hit for power last year and steal bags. And that's what I try to tell them. Hey, you know, the stronger you get, the quicker you get, the less we have to do this. We don't have to bunt.
Right.
You know, the bunting. Let's make bunting the last resort. You know, once again, I'm dangling that carrot. You know, take strength and conditioning seriously and make yourself a better player, transform yourself, transform your body, transform your game. And, you know, maybe we don't have to bunt every single inning as soon as we get a guy on base, which we've had to do that in the past.
Yeah, we went to the Zach DeChant stuff last year, and I thought it was amazing. It was very strange for me at the beginning, but
Yeah.
you know, just the form over everything else. But it was really good.
Right.
I
Because
thought it helped us out a lot.
I, in the beginning, because I really wasn't familiar with it, and he sold me on it. And I'm like, are we really getting stronger? He's like, you got to trust me.
Exactly.
He goes, trust me. I'm like, okay. And then he's shown me all of our running times are decreasing. Uh, and I'm just watching the ball come off the bat. And I'm just like, wow, we got kids that have been hitting them out BP, but now they're hitting it up by the light tower. And,
Right.
you know, I mean, we got kids hitting them out opposite field. You know, where does all this come from? And I'm like, well, he's like, well, between swinging those weighted bats and what we're doing, that's why.
Right. All right. Next one's the one that's killing me. Leave the field open, which we're not able to do right now. After school for extra work if possible. I'm used to going outside and seeing school end and 30 kids on the field, and we're closed.
Yeah, you know, our little after school scrimmages, inter squads that we're doing. Um, I had basically, I kept trying to sell it. You know, here's what we're trying to do. Here's what we're trying to do. And of course, they're worried about COVID, and I get that. Um, but I said, well, let me ask you a question. Does basketball get to have open gym? And they're like, well, yeah. I'm like, well, that's all we're doing. It's just open gym. It's just on a baseball field.
Yeah.
It's stuff that well, have you done this in the past? Well, yes, we've done it every year. The only thing that's going to be different is, you know, all the kids are going to wear a mask, and we're masked up the whole time we're out there. I make them wear a mask. Even when we are able to be distant, we're still wearing some kind of face covering. Um, I mean, if for no other reason, if somebody comes by and takes a picture, you know,
Right.
they're not gonna, because that's happened. That's happened with our football team. I mean, people have come by and taken pictures of them, and you know, kid may have pulled his gator down to get a drink of water, and he didn't pull it right back up. Somebody snaps a picture, and you know, there's an
Right.
email for our football coach. So we're trying to avoid all that.
All right. The next one you've talked about already: foster competition. Then the next one is, again, you talked about that one: chart everything. I think the difference here is that you said post it in the locker room so everybody can see it.
Yeah, yeah. We want them to be able to see where, you know, where they're at. You know, like, coach, there's no way my exit velo's 79. Yeah, that it is. It's 79. That's all you're hitting off the tee, pal.
Yeah.
The radar gun don't lie. And when we're testing, we've got it. We've got the pocket radar hooked up to the iPad, and it's calling it out. So when they swing, they're hearing it.
Right.
And everybody in the cages is hearing it, and the guy standing behind, they can see it. So there's a little bit of pressure. It puts a little bit of pressure on them, but I mean, we want them to be uncomfortable in practice, because that's what games are going to be like. You're going to be uncomfortable in games. There's no way around it. And you know, we try to do things. You know, competing is really uncomfortable for some kids.
Right.
So we try to make everything as competitive as we can, and uh, you know, even if it's just as simple as the loser of the scrimmage has got to put up all the equipment. No one wants to put up equipment. I think they dislike putting up equipment maybe more than anything.
Yeah.
So we had our base running scrimmage last Friday. That's what was on the line, and they were getting out. No one wanted to break down the bubba and put the pitching machine away and put the screens away. Nobody want pick up the bases. Nobody wants to do that. So that's usually our go-to. And they they get after it.
All right, next one you talked a lot about. All right, test arm strength, exit velocity, but you added 10-yard dash, 30-yard dash, rank them and post them.
Yeah, the 10-yard dash, that's real big for our pitchers. The lower the 10-yard dash, the more it correlates to velo.
Right.
So for the pitchers, that's the big one, and then 30-yard dash, and that's just home to first. And they just like when you're a kid, hey, let's race, and it's the same concept. They think they're faster than that guy, and they want to see their times.
Right. All right. Next two are kind of ones a lot of different guys do. So have a fall World Series, choose captains, have a draft, and put something on the line.
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. It's a different year. So usually we're playing twice a week with the fall World Series, but we're only doing it once a week now. But we've been able to get our younger kids involved this year. So our older kids are playing on Tuesdays, and our younger kids are playing on Thursdays. And I usually let them decide what they're going to put on the line. Usually the losing team's got to go to Sonic and get dinner for the winners. They got a guy and they got to buy dinner. That's usually been it the last couple of years. We used to have a trophy. I think somebody walked off with it a couple of years ago. And usually we do stuff on, we put a lot of it on social media. We really hadn't so far this year. This year just been kind of different.
Yeah. You've got your Halloween game as part of the World Series.
Yeah, they love that. I don't know if we're gonna be able to do that because we're getting lots of rain. I don't know if we're gonna play it all this week. If it stops, we can get on the field Thursday. Then we may try to do something real last minute. But usually our Halloween game, our stands are packed.
Really?
Parents, students, teachers all come out. It's been a really big deal the last couple of years. So we can't have any fans in the stands right now. So that I've tried to explain to them that's why. Well, Coach, we can live stream it. I'm like, well, yeah, I guess we could. And so it's going to be something we're going to decide real last minute on. We're probably going to decide tomorrow, and we're all going to run out and get costumes for Thursday. I guess. I know they will, but it's just this fall. I've just tried to explain to them, look, this fall's different.
Yeah.
We can't control it. We've got to navigate it as best we can.
All right. And then your Round Rock Challenge, you've got 8 to 10 events. Doesn't have to be baseball related. Take a break from baseball and watch them compete.
Yeah, we'll do a sprint relay. The only time we ever do anything long distance is during the Round Rock Challenge. We've got a good 5K course around the neighborhood that they'll run. They hate that because it's just something we never do. We'll do a sled push. We've got a medicine ball relay. That's always a fun event. That's probably one of the more grueling events. Tug of war, tire flips, football throw. And then I think we've done an obstacle course in the past. Which has involved some baseball stuff, but we just try to compete, and that I think that's something that our kids I don't think that's the one thing I think they lack is competing. I think I found myself teaching kids how to compete more than I did maybe 10, 15, even 20 years ago.
Right.
And I don't know if it's summer baseball, if it's these cell phones. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I feel like we've got to teach them how to compete a little bit better.
Yeah, and we just had that conversation in class. We can't do anything, so we're remote with a lot of stuff. So they're running and competing against each other. Some guys that just aren't running. I don't understand, guys. I don't understand how you can't want to beat whoever's running the most. To me, it doesn't make any sense at all. But for some of them, it's just, coach, it's just the way it is. To me, I haven't understood that one yet. All right, almost done fall. So meet individually with players at the 9 weeks and let them know how they're doing and what they need to improve. That's a big one also.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, keep the line of communications open. I want them to be able to come talk to me and ask me anything. Some kids won't come talk to me at all. And some kids ask me every day, Coach, what I need to work on? What I need to work on? Where am I at? Where do you see me at right now? But we try to bring them all in a couple times in the fall to tell them where they're at, what they need to work on. You got a great chance to be if you do this, and this, you got a great chance to be a varsity guy. And then, I had to have a talk to the kid the other day with his grades. I'm like, man, from an ability standpoint, you could be our Friday night guy. I said, but your grades, you're not even in the conversation anymore. They're just,
Right.
I mean, you're interested, you're not committed. So, you know, but they've got to know that. They have to know that.
Yeah. The other one you already talked about. So offer free coaches clinics for youth baseball coaches, to establish the same routine of what you're doing. This one, establish coaching duties for the spring. So bus requests, scouting, and
Yep.
position assignments.
Yeah. I don't remember the last time I did a bus request. I've made sure I've delegated that one. Um, if we can get out and scout, we'll get out and scout. So I try to get our opponents' tournament schedules, and usually we host tournaments every weekend varsity wise. So I can leave my assistant and I can go scout, or I'll stay and run the tournament. He'll go scout, but our district's not letting us host any tournaments this year. Um, so scouting may be a challenge this year,
Yeah.
but it's something that we try to make everyone do at least once. No one's going to scout as much as I am. I'm going to do the majority of it if possible. But if our sub varsities or if we're lucky enough where we got someone playing on a Monday night, they'll go scout on Tuesday. If we can't scout Friday, that's fine. But if we can at least get eyes on our next opponent at least one time, that makes me feel a little bit better.
All right. Okay. So lots of social media, show off your program. The kids and the parents love it.
Yeah, that's something I think we do a really good job of um, in a normal year. This year we haven't done a whole lot. I try to tag kid, like especially with the World Series going on. If there's a really good highlight, really good play, I try to, I'll tag our baseball Twitter account, and like if it's a pitching deal, I'll tag as many pitchers as I can out so they can see the video.
All right.
Uh,
Yeah, you're
you know,
pretty active on that from what I've seen.
oh yeah,
Yeah. And then you had what most of us do, check grades on a weekly basis.
absolutely. Yeah, you have to stay on them, especially right now, because especially with virtual, it's tough.
Oh man. All right. So last one, spring hire, open field during Christmas break, so players can come up and throw and hit on their own. That's a big one too.
Yeah. We'll try to open it up a couple days. I mean, I want the coaches to have vacation. I want to have a little time off, especially before we get started. But I mean, the kid coach, open the field today, open the field. So we try to open it up as much as we can, but also tell them, hey, we're about to really start grinding. So let's, let we're not going to be up there every day. But we can get up there 2, maybe 3 days, each week. Then it's better than nothing.
Right. Attend the ABCA National Convention if possible. I guess that's if it's close.
Yeah, if it's close, I've gone probably the last. I haven't missed one in a while. I'm on a really good streak right now. Um,
They've gotten so
I'm trying to
much
remember.
better with their videos and everything. It's almost like you don't
Yeah,
have to anymore.
it's like it's almost like you don't have to go, but it's just I love to go. I got to coach with USA Baseball a few years back, and I got to coach with guys from all across the country. So it's like ABCA is like our one chance of the year that we can all
Uh,
get together
yeah.
and pick each other's brains and just see each other, go out to dinner, go out to lunch. Um, so I mean, those are definitely guys I try to hook up with whenever I go, and I've brought my top assistant with me, the guys at DeSoto now. I've had him go with me, and he it's incredible. He loves it. Um, so It's whenever it's here, our whole staff will go. I tell them that's optional. Everyone's going to Waco. We're all definitely going to Waco. I mean, it's nearly mandatory. Um, just if we can find one thing that we could bring back and kind of plug into what we're doing, it's worth it.
Right. And that's what you had next. So attend the Texas High School Baseball Coach Association Clinic in Waco. This is nearly mandatory. I'm glad you said that.
It is. It is. They know. They know. They know we're going.
Promote open tryouts throughout the school.
I mean, you never know. Like the band kid in DeSoto, you never know what may come out. And I mean, it seems like every year there's a kid that is in PE and he could at least throw it a little bit. And we're like, man, how come especially a freshman, how come you didn't sign up for baseball? Oh, I didn't know about it. And okay, all right. Well, I'm glad you came to tryouts. And I mean, usually there's at least one kid we find every year that, for some reason, maybe they're in the band, um, so they can't be in they can't be in the baseball period. So, we had a kid last year, a lefty that could spin it a little bit, and he was a band kid, and he came out to tryouts. We're like, well, how come you didn't sign for baseball? Well, I'm in the band. I'm like, okay, I understand that. I get that. I've done that before.
You've been lucky with the band, man.
I guess I have.
This one is one that I definitely need to do too. So meet individually with players after tryouts, communicate their roles in the program.
Yeah, I try to meet with each kid, even the kids that we cut. And it all depends on numbers. When I was at Marcus, I mean, there were so many kids that tried out. I couldn't meet. I just didn't have the time to meet with each kid individually. Um, I'd meet with them as a group, and then several of them would meet with me individually, and I'd meet with as many of those kids as I could. But at South, we don't quite have those numbers, so we'll meet with each kid individually and tell all the kids in the athletic period, and even the open tryout kids. I'll just pull them off. I'll call their number out one at a time in the dugout, and I'll just tell them, hey, you don't have the necessary skills to to make our program. Thank you for coming out. What questions do you have? And usually they know, but just to thank them for their effort and let them know I appreciate them coming out. I mean, posting a list. I think I think that's the easy way out for a coach.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone's got to do things their way. But just me personally, I'm not a big fan of posting the list, and that's it.
I like that one. I think that's something I'll change myself. Host a preseason parent meeting to remind them of the expectations. I think that's for and during the season.
Yeah, 24-hour cooling off period. Don't approach a coach after a game about
Right.
playing time. I seem like I say that every year, and every year we have one incident. It's usually at the sub varsity level,
Yeah.
of an irate parent that their kid didn't play. Don't do that. Contact the coach. Contact that coach. If that doesn't work, then come to me. If I don't satisfy you, then all right, then we'll go to the campus coordinator. And usually, the chain of command, they get the parents have done a real good job with chain of command. I think probably only one time in the last 5 years a parent's gone straight to the central office. They didn't come to me. They didn't go to our coordinator or on campus. They just went straight to our central office. So, I mean, one time in 5 years, I don't guess that's too bad.
No, that's not bad at all. And then you had continue with the checklist, and then meet this. This one's a good one also. Meet individually with players after scrimmages, again to go over what their roles are and if it's changed.
Right. Everyone's got a role. Every role's important. Every role's important to me, and I try to explain to them. It's not where you start the season; it's where you finish. I've had guys start on JV and they're starting in district on the varsity. Um, a kid that we thought was a no doubt varsity starter, turns out he's a 5 o'clock hitter, not a 7 o'clock hitter, and he's sitting, and we bring somebody else up, and You know, it's just you don't like your role, that's fine. You need to keep that to yourself, but you got to keep working. You got to keep working, work while you wait, and when you get that opportunity, be ready. Um, if your job is a pinch hitter, that's your job. You're going to be the first pinch hitter off the bench. Then you need to be studying that pitcher the whole game, and you need to be talking to the guys when they come into the dugout after at bats. Hey, what's he throwing? What's the umpire's zone? That's your job. You got to be ready. Because if your job is a pinch hitter, then we want you to be the best pinch hitter in the state of Texas, and take pride in it. And eventually, if you get your job done as a pinch hitter, I mean, if someone's not hitting and you're getting a job done as a pinch hitter, then you'll be a starter, which is what they all want to do. And we try to explain to them how why all these jobs are important. If you don't like your role, work harder, and be ready when you get your opportunity.
Right.
Because they'll get an opportunity, and I've had kids, I have parents. Well, you give my son one at bat a game. What do you expect? Well, I expect him to be ready and produce. That's my expectations. And if he's not going to do that, well, I mean, the alternative is he doesn't get that at bat, and I'll give it to somebody else. So yeah, I mean, I expect him to be ready.
Yeah, exactly. All right, this one you touched on earlier. So win the first game, award player of the game with a game ball, have an entire team sign the ball that the player of the game gets, and then have him give it to, I think you said, faculty or staff member.
Yeah. So this is part of our relationship with our faculty. Is our game ball program. So after a win, I'll date the ball, put the score, the opponent, and I'll let the kids pick the player of the game, and then we all sign it, and then that kid takes it to a teacher or member of the staff that's made a difference to them. And if we're winning a lot of games and a lot of game balls are getting passed out, so teachers are like, well, you got a game ball? Yeah, well, I've got two game balls. So the teachers start getting competitive with each other. And I mean, it's coach, thank you so much. So and so gave me a ball, and I know, I think 2 years ago, one of the teachers posted it on Twitter, took a picture of him, and tagged me, tagged the baseball program, and so and so gave me a game ball, and she loved it, and
That's a good one.
it's a cool.
And you put on there, do it with every win. And
Every
then,
every game we win.
yeah, and then the tournaments you talked about, week 1,
Yeah.
build confidence, week 2, humble them, and then week 3, kind of half and half.
Yep.
Let's see, establish game day routines for district, pregame meals.
Yeah, eat as a team. For home games, they know BP is at this time. For
Right.
road games, BP is at this time, so they know we've got that game day routine. In the past, we've had theme days, so for BP, they could wear a jersey, or Hawaiian shirt day, kind of like what Joe Madden used to do with the Rays. We let them have a theme day. That's kind of gone away the last couple of years. The last couple of groups didn't think that was very cool, so they just want, coach, we just want to wear shorts during BP. Okay, that's fine. You can wear the shorts with the jersey. That's fine. Um, but we definitely want to have a routine. And when the days that I really can't stand are when we have a game and we don't have school that day, because we're just totally out of our routine. And we I don't want to say never, but we rarely play well on those type of days. So like spring break, I can't stand spring break because.
Yeah.
So usually we'll get them up and we'll eat breakfast during spring break. We'll go meet at 8 o'clock for breakfast to get everybody out of bed, and we'll go eat breakfast, and then they'll come check in at noon, come back check in at noon, and then BP will be at 3 o'clock. For if it's a road game. So we try to keep them, because I don't want them sleeping until 2 o'clock, because then we'll be sluggish.
Right. You've got host an elementary school night, junior high night, and a youth baseball night.
Try to get the community and the feeder schools as interested as possible. I want as many kids on the south side of Grand Prairie to want to be warriors, and try to get them up there as much as possible, either with our summer in the school year, Um, and our booster club will feed them. They'll get a hot dog, a drink. Um, Sometimes the district will let me get them in for free. Sometimes they won't. Their parents will pay, but we'll let the kids in free. It just depends
Right.
year to year on that.
And then you've got meet individually with players during the season as needed, continue strength and conditioning program. And then the last one, have an end of the season exit meeting with all players to set up their summer improvement plan.
Yeah, just try to find out, who they're playing with during the summer. Are they playing? If they're not playing, well, how come you're not playing? Um, our football coaches do a really good job of strength and conditioning. They're open to letting all the sports, all the kids come in there. So during the summer, quite a few of our kids have gone to what we call Warrior Pride, and they get in there and lift with the football kids. It's kind of it's a little different than what they're used to, but I just tell them, hey, just go in there and compete with them. I mean,
Yeah.
you have nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, it's a different kind of lifting. We'll get back to our lifting in the fall. Our strength and conditioning guy that we use, quite a few of the guys are going to him during the summer, and he keeps them going in our program.
All right. So reevaluate all you've done, stick with the things that worked, tinker with the things that were semi-successful or semi-successful, and then take responsibility for the things that didn't work. That's tough.
Yeah, not everything's going to work. So if I do something and it doesn't work, I need you need to own it. And all right, that doesn't work. Let's trash that. Let's find a better way to do it. Talk to some other coaches. Hey, what do I'm having a problem with this. What do you do for this?
Right.
Don't be afraid. And I'm lucky. I've got a bunch of guys that I've known over the years that I can go to and pick their brains, and they're they help me out a lot.
All right. Set up networking, kind of what you're talking, networking sessions with other high school coaches or college baseball coaches. Try and find better ways to do things, which you pretty much just talked about. And Foster's a good one to bounce some stuff off of.
He's awesome. He's good. He's so good. I enjoy talking to him.
Yeah, we were lucky to have him a couple of years as an officer. I think he was the assistant secretary for a while. He's a good guy. All right, and that was it. And then I put up there, and I'll make this available for everybody. That's your checklist for preparing.
Yeah, that's the checklist for preparing your team. I've got it color coded, and there's some things that can go with multiple things. I put them in the category I felt most important for that thing, for that issue, for that that item. And then the other page, the whole ball player. We give this to the kids and the parents. I give that to them at the parent meeting. Coach, what are you looking for? How are you evaluating my kid? Well, this is what we're looking for. Those are things we can see with our eyes, and those are things that we can't see with our eyes. And that the bottom one, just willing to learn. Be coachable. We all we want to do is help kids. We're definitely not trying to make them worse players or worse people. Just be coachable. Be coachable.
All right, and then the last part. Let's see. We're going back to the questions now. So just the lightning section. Got to be real quick. All right. So real short answers. Favorite player.
Oh, this is so hard. Favorite player. I'm because he played for me. He pitches for the Pirates. Kyle Crick. I coached him in Sherman, so he's a big leaguer. He's my favorite player.
Okay. All right. Favorite team.
The Rangers, my hometown team, but it's weird. As a kid, 70s, there's something about the Oakland A's and their uniforms and Reggie Jackson, Fisher, Raleigh Finger. So I kind of have a real soft spot for the A's.
And my dad was a first-round draft pick in +67, so he played with all those guys in the minor leagues. He said Reggie Jackson was horrible, man. He was just a rude dude, man. But yeah, he just he didn't make it to the major leagues with those guys, but he said all those guys were just characters, which they were. You could just tell.
Oh yeah, they were.
All right, so latest thing that you learned that you're really excited about.
Being able to break down all the Rapsodo data. I've really immersed myself in that, and then because of COVID and virtual learning, I've now become pretty good at Canvas. So
Yeah.
I, never used it before. Just I was probably that old school social studies teacher. Let's do the worksheets because that's how I've always done it. Now I've kind of embraced Canvas, so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself there.
Really, really, all teachers being able to do that is pretty amazing, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing how we've done all this on the fly. Because
Yeah.
I tell the kids we're not trained to do this, and you're not trained
Right.
to do this. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's different.
All right. What's something that your kids, if they got to take over practice, what would they do? What do they really love?
I asked them this question because I told them what I was doing, and I said, What do y'all, what do you love?" And they're like, "Coach, competing." So they've totally bought into that's the first thing they all my seniors. They're all like, Anything where there's competition involved doesn't matter what it is. If there's competition involved, we love it." So
Yeah.
competing.
All right. So, what's something that you believe in that other coaches might disagree with you?
Okay, so with this whole thing with COVID, not knowing if we're going to have tournaments or we're going to play 26 games. So I've got my schedule ready with the traditional schedule, 3 tournaments, 17 games, and I've also got my schedule ready with no tournaments and 26 games. And I think I like I think I'd rather not play any tournaments and just play 26 games because the way our schedule's so front loaded, playing 5, 6 games every weekend, and when you get down to number 10, 11, and 12 on the mound, it is just low baseball. And there's not many things I can't stand more than low quality baseball. And unfortunately, I see it a lot during the summer. I definitely don't want to see it during the high school season.
Right.
Um, so well, if I could find 3 people to play me a 3 game series the first 3 weeks, I would stop playing in tournaments and
Yeah.
play
And
Tuesday,
and
Saturday.
that's what we
Uh,
have. We got 3 really, really tough opponents, and I'm kinda excited about playing them. It's gonna be like a playoffs right from the beginning.
right. I think I'd rather do that, and I don't know how many guys would want to give up doing tournaments. So
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm in the minority there.
Alright, so if we came to your practice, what would be the 3 things that would stand out? 3 things that we'd really notice?
Um, the amount of quality reps that I think our kids get, um, because we don't waste time, or we try not to. Um, the amount of stuff we do at game speed and player development, we try to. Kid, like especially in the fall, the freshman is getting the same exact. He's getting the same amount of reps as the senior at shortstop. They're getting the same swings. They're doing the same drills. I'm coaching the freshmen the same way I'm coaching the seniors. So I think player development would be something that would probably stand out. At least I hope it would.
Okay. Alright, and last one, favorite book or favorite resource, whichever one you want.
The ABCA video library. I think
Yeah,
it's the best thing out there right now.
yeah,
Um,
it's amazing.
if I need a base running, if there's something we want to work on base running, we'll find a base running video. If I need a fresh idea for hitting or pitching, it's such a great resource. Such a great resource.
That whole barnstorming series and everything else has been pretty amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they've really. I mean, when Jeremy Sheetinger got the job with ABCA, he's totally changed everything. He's to me, he's the number one baseball guy in the country. I mean, he's what he's done with ABCA. It's because I was going 15, 20 years ago, and it was good. It was neat, but now it's if you're not going to the national convention, you're really missing out.
yeah, yeah. All right, Coach. Hey, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you sending what you did. And us being able to go through it and everything else. So, how can people get a hold of you if they've got some questions?
Um, you can email me art.senato@gpisd.org. And then on Twitter, I'm at Coach Senato 29. Yeah, if you want anything, you need anything, let me know. I'm more than willing to share. I've had a lot of coaches when I was young that helped me out, so I'll give it all away. I mean, that's not a problem. I'll share anything that you want. You want to talk, pick my brain, whatever. That's fine. Anytime, anytime.
Well, again, like I said, I appreciate you, Coach, and that was something we hadn't talked about at all. I thought it was a great topic, different topic from what we've been talking about. So, I think most of that stuff is going to help people out later on down the road. I know I would have liked to have seen some of that stuff before I left Sherryland, went somewhere else, and then came back and everything.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt about it.
All right, Coach, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it off, but go ahead and stay on.
All right, I appreciate it.